morning, Jenny.
Morning, Zilka.
And thank you for sharing some of your lessons that you've learned through coaching, but also through your environment just recently.
Yeah.
You are the owner and manager of a small to medium design and interior design and manufacturing company.
That's correct, yeah.
And you don't only own the business, but you are hands-on managing and running it basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of your recent hobbies you took up was horse riding as well.
Yeah.
And you have a trainer who not only teaches you how to handle horses and how to ride, but he also trains the horses.
That's correct.
And in that process, you had an amazing discovery and a lesson that you learned the other day. Do you want to just tell us about that briefly?
Well, it was actually while I was also working with you as a coach, as in leadership with my company. And the Sunday, the trainer came to the farm, and it's we have 3 farm horses, and they're just being horses. They're just out in the field and grazing. And I always wanted to build a relationship with these horses. So the trainer came and he clipped his hooves, and then I asked him, but can't you help me to build this relationship with horses? And he said, well, rule number 1, you have to understand one person must be dominant and the other one has to submit. And it was so funny that Monday I was scheduled to have a very difficult conversation with one of my senior staff. And I'm like, this I can actually take with me, because for some other reason I was always shying away from difficult conversations. And I mean, that's the one thing that directs your staff and your business into where you want to go. And then I said, well, I'm going to take this lesson, and when I walk into the office, one must be a leader and the other one must follow. So I had a very intimate conversation with her where it's you're kind and compassionate, but you're also very assertive. Assertive being you're confident, and you also know what direction the staff member must move into. So with that, it was actually the most easiest conversation I ever had, and both me and the staff member walked out of the meeting, and it was really a difficult meeting, and we just understood each other. And finally I got a different performance from her because of the 3 principles that I learned.
Okay.
And these 3 principles is basically, principle number 1 is you want to build a relationship with your horse. Okay, so in this case, you want to build a relationship with your employee. And then number 2 is don't get emotionally involved. So previously, when my employees used to do something that I didn't like, I'll be emotionally wrecked for a week. Okay, and I will blame myself for not doing the right things, and just going in with no expectations helped so much, just to relieve that stress. And you're not it is difficult, it's very difficult. And then number 3 was being assertive, which I said, being confident, but also knowing what direction you want your employee to move into. And that helped me a lot that day. And since then, I've been applying it in all aspects of my business.
Okay, that sounds great. Are there any other principles that you implemented?
So this morning I actually implemented a new principle that I learned while doing groundwork with my horses, because they beginners like I am. I mean, I always loved horses all my life since a little girl, but if you're small, all you have to do is groom the horse and get on the horse and stay on the horse. Okay, now you learn different things about horses, and they're such clever animals. And so the 4 principles that I used this morning was spot, direct, motivate, and release. So that means if you want your horse, if say for instance you just want the hind legs to move, but you want the front legs to stand still, then that's the spot. Okay, you say, okay, the hip must move, but the front legs must stay. That's the spot. So the direction is, okay, what direction do I want the hips to move into? All right, so left or right, so that's spot, direct. And motivate, you apply a bit of pressure. And then number 4 is release. So this morning I had, just before coming to this interview, one of my staff members was supposed to give through an order on Monday for things that we need in the manufacturing. So if we don't get it on Monday, they deliver on a Wednesday. And then, you see, so the whole manufacturing process stands still. So I had to spot, okay, this was what was the problem, that's the spot. And now I have to direct my employee. What direction do I want my employee to go into? And then asking the right questions, I now motivate my employee to move into the direction I want him to move. So that's a little bit of pressure by asking the questions. And they feel the pressure because they stand there and it's like, you know. And then you release and you give them space to look for the answer. And that's exactly what I did this morning. And the employee walked away and it's like, he was so fulfilled because he learned something out of the experience. And it wasn't, you know, giving him punishment for not doing his job, but using the moment as a teaching experience. And that's with horses exactly the same. They like being challenged all the time. So they want to learn new things. But we have to use the correct manner of teaching them. Otherwise, you're going to ruin that relationship because it's always building on a relationship with horses and that trust, gaining that trust. Now I gained this employee's trust because I didn't punish him for not doing his job. I gave him the space to learn and to grow out of the situation. Yeah, so it was actually a very, very good moment for me and him.
Okay, great. Thank you so much again for sharing your lesson, and I hope it's going to be valuable for you who are listening in. Thank you.
Thank you.